All right, welcome back inside our studios for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Rich Walsh in for Bob Pompiani tonight, and we have an all-star panel for you tonight from left to right on your screen. It's Andrew Fillipponi from The Fan. Jason Mackey just got back into town from Washington, D.C., from the Post-Gazette, and Tim Benz from the Trib. And that's what we're going to start with tonight. The Pittsburgh Penguins. Are they in trouble, facing elimination in the Game 6 for the first time since 2016 against Tampa? In that series in the Eastern Conference Finals, they've been in a couple Game 7s before. But we'll start with you, Jason Mackey. You were there. I was there. Do you think this team is in trouble tomorrow night in Pittsburgh?
Honestly, Rich, I don't think so. I do think they're going to win in Game 6. I think Game 7 kind of goes, you know how Game 7 goes. It can be a toss-up, a bad bounce, a bad break. Anybody can win. But I don't think they're in trouble, per se. I mean, I don't look at this Penguins team right now as an inept one or one that is ill-equipped or something like that. I think Matt Murray has to be better. Phil Kessel, Derek Brassard have to be better. But any team with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin on it, and I should also add to the list of being better is Chris Letang. But overall, I thought they did a lot of things well in Game 5. They just weren't able to bury their chances early on when they probably should have.
Yeah, are they in trouble, Rich, big picture? Yeah, they are. I think they win tomorrow night and force a Game 7, but I think that Game 7 against Washington is going to be even more difficult of a task than it was last year. Look, they're 4 for 4 in elimination games under Mike Sullivan, but those 2 elimination games against Tampa and last year's Game 7 against Ottawa, those first 3, I thought the Penguins were clearly the better team. They really needed a great effort from Marc-Andre Fleury to get the win in Washington in Game 7. This Washington team, to me, if it was going to throw up all over itself, if these Capitals were going to be like Capitals of years gone by, they would have folded after the second period on Saturday when it was 3-2 and it could have been 7-2, and they managed to still get a win. So I think the fiber of this Capital team is a little bit better, and that's going to make it more challenging for the Penguins.
I think they were ready to do that, and then 2 defensemen hung out near the bench and a guy went in on a breakaway, and that to me tilted the ice and changed the game, Tim. I think their 2 previous elimination games were more threatening than the situation they find themselves in now. Tampa was up 3-2. Fleury had just gotten pulled. They had gone back to Murray. And that Tampa team the year before had been to the Stanley Cup final. Washington last year had the momentum from Games 5 and 6, and Letang, a great Letang, was not in the lineup. So I got to see it to believe it with Washington. I don't think 9-1 all-time against them in these situations is relevant, but I think the Ovechkin era and the fact that these teams can never get over the hump is very much a real thing. And if they go back to Washington for Game 7, I believe all the pressure will be on the Capitals to win that game.
I think the Penguins have to win this more than the Capitals will lose it. And I think a big reason for that is the goaltending. Like you brought up Matt Murray coming back. I don't think we've seen the Matt Murray that we've seen the last 2 years, or for that matter, the Game 7 win, how great Marc-Andre Fleury was going into that game and including that game.
Hey, Jason, these guys both touched on it. Do you think that the fact that the Caps did come back is maybe the most concerning, that the Penguins gave up a third-period lead twice in this series?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a cause for concern, Rich, but it's something that under Sullivan they also haven't made a habit of doing. I think this is a very good Capitals team. We're kidding ourselves if we're going to try to downplay them or make fun of them or say that they're not capable or something like that. They absolutely are. And I was really impressed with what Jacob Vrana added to their top line. They're going to have Nicholas Backstrom and John Carlson in the lineup tomorrow night. That's not going to be a concern. So they're going to make pushes. They're going to erase leads. Did I think that the Penguins did anything that egregious? No. We can focus on the 2 goals, and Chris Letang and Brian Dumoulin were not great. But you know what? The entire season they've had hiccups as well. And with Chris Letang, you're going to have to live with some of the bad, but there's a lot of the good. So am I overly concerned, freaking out about blowing leads? No, you don't want to do it, but I still feel that this team is perfectly capable.
So this brings another big question. Do they make any changes? Should they make any changes? Andrew, I mean, I could think about putting Kessel on that second line with Malkin, maybe to get him started, taking Simone off the first line. What would you do, Pony?
I wouldn't do anything wholesale. I really wouldn't, because I think that would be an admission that there was a critical breakdown or that you had a fundamental problem with Game 5, and I really don't. I think the way the second period went, and then he had a couple of follies in the third period, but other than that, I would actually be pleased with the way my team played, and that would be my selling point if I'm Mike Sullivan. Hey, if we do most of what we did in Game 5, we're going to win Game 6 and Game 7. So there's no orange alert, there's no red alert, there's no reason for me to find somebody in the press box who can make a huge difference. I'm not going to bench somebody or move somebody way up in the lineup to try to get a spark. I think if Kessel's healthy, right, I mean, if they get the Game 5 Kessel, I think they'll be in better shape.
I'd either take Simone out of the lineup or put him on the fourth line, minimize his ice time, and put Brian Rust up with Sidney Crosby and Jake Gensel. Put Mr. Elimination Game up there with the line that's getting it done right now, and have that be the threesome, and then have Hornquist on the Malkin line, because I just don't see it coming right now with Phil Kessel and just putting him with Evgeny Malkin. I wonder if that hurts Malkin more than it helps at this point.
Well, I think I'm looking at this lineup from let's take a look at Game 7 and even down the road. Maybe that's foolish, but if I'm going to do that, I want to get Phil Kessel going. I want to get Derek Brassard going. And how do I do that? Phil Kessel loves playing with Evgeny Malkin. I know that there's some risk there going off of what Tim said, but to me, it's a smart play. You try to do that. You try to ignite some offense, and Kessel, you bring Brassard up the lineup. You didn't
think those guys got it going in Game 5?
No, I thought they did, but I think there's still a lot more there. I mean, Phil Kessel was a -4 and had a turnover at the end of the game that led to the goal the other way. I mean, I'm not convinced yet. I thought it was the ball rolling a little bit the right way.
All right, we'll continue the conversation, the Penguins conversation, after this break with all these guys, and we'll talk about a couple of the Penguins who might need to change their game a little bit for Game 6 tomorrow at PPG. Well, we have a lot of winners in this town, and you could be next. Visit one of Pittsburgh's 3 #1 Cochran Nissan stores now during their Triple Grand opening event. Register to win a Nissan Rogue 3-year lease or one of 3 $1,000 Visa gift cards. Plus, everyone's a winner with 3 times the pricing power, 3 times the inventory. The new #1 Cochran Nissan Super Group, South Hills, West Hills, and Monroeville. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be right back.
The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.